finally, we welcome Jonathan Palmer, Executive Director of Conservation Technology at the Wildlife Conservation Society. Welcome, Jonathan.
Good morning. It's wonderful to be here today. My name is Jonathan Palmer. I lead the Conservation Technology team at WCS. So before I get into my presentation, I just want to reflect all the hard work that's done to get us here today. On behalf of the steering committee of WildLabs, I'd like to thank all of you who have made that journey, especially those who have had the challenges that come with international travel, but all the people who have welcomed us in Peru. I'd like to thank the sponsors and everyone else who's helped make this event possible. I'd also, on behalf of the steering committee, like to thank Talia and Adrian for setting up this event so well. From the point of view of the steering committee, this event has been painless and effortless. Painless because of them. So I'm going to ask them to stand up, and I'm going to ask you to clap one more time. So I've been working in this sector for 25 years. 20 years ago, I was at a conference of technology leaders from nonprofits around the world. And we were shown this video from Carl Fish called Shift Happens. If you haven't seen it before, it's a bit dated, but it's worth watching. But this one quote here, which was from an American Secretary of State for Education, was really profound for me at that time. To think there were kids in school learning for jobs that didn't even exist was amazing for me at that time. Reflecting back now, 20 years ago, I was sitting in a room and I was working in a profession that didn't even have a name. Conservation technology didn't even exist. And it's something we have created over the last 20 years. Not only did conservation technology not really exist 20 years ago, but the solutions that we're working on today aren't ones that weren't invented. They weren't even things that had been thought of. The problems hadn't even been thought of, and solutions hadn't even been dreamed of. So this conference is an incredible milestone in a very young industry, within an industry, conservation technology. And as part of this, I want us to remember why we're here today. I want to suggest we're not here because of wildlife and nature. I also want to suggest we're not here because of technology. We're here because the world is facing major crises that threaten the existence of wildlife, the existence of nature, and humanity itself. And those challenges we face, these are just three of the many we face, have impact at every scale. And as we think about our contribution to addressing these problems, I want us to encourage us to all think about how critical scale is. As we think about achieving scale and achieving impact, it's important to reflect the context we're in. No matter what side you are of the political spectrum, I'm sure we all agree this is an incredibly challenging time politically. We don't really know where the world is going. And not just politically, on multiple fronts. The world is both exciting and threatening. AI empowers us in so many ways, but we also don't know what it means for humanity in the long term. But what is really, really exciting within the conservation community, despite all those challenges, despite all that uncertainty, we're ambitious. 30 by 30. Our goal to make sure 30% of the world's surface is protected at every scale is just one of the many ambitious targets we as a community have set ourselves. And it's amazing to be in an industry where we're facing these challenges that no one ever has experienced, the end of life on Earth as we know it, and our response is to be ambitious. But our response is not only to be ambitious, we're also optimistic. Rewilding as a concept has been around for many years, but it's only in the last 20 years it's really become a mainstream strategy for many conservation organizations. And it's wonderful to think, against this backdrop of all these challenges, against this backdrop of all this political uncertainty and uncertainty about the world around us, we are a community who is incredibly ambitious and incredibly optimistic. And conservation technology has a key role to play in ensuring we can maintain that ambition and maintain that optimism. And part of conservation technology's role is to make sure we're driving impact at scale, to make sure the best ideas, whether they're from Peru, Colombia, Congo, or anywhere in the world, are turned into solutions at scale at the highest level possible. As a sector, we've had massive impact already. There are incredible technology solutions out there. I hope you all make use of the sponsors out in the foyer in the next couple of days. And they're many of the examples of technologies that have had impact at scale. And it's not only major technology companies or big partnerships that are having impact at scale. On your screen is just an example from CyberTracker. A tool developed by one person, and this is weekly usage statistics of that tool. So it's amazing what we can achieve today, that one person can enable hundreds of thousands of people around the world. But we need to do more. We need to do a lot more. I believe if we look at the impact of conservation technology today, we need to scale that impact 100 times more. A lot of the most successful conservation technology solutions talk about being deployed in 1,000, 1,500 places. There are 300,000 protected areas around the world. And the scale of our challenge isn't just defined by geography. It's defined by supporting different management needs. The need of a small OECM managed by an indigenous community is very different for the technology needs of a large protected area managed by a government. And so we have to be even more ambitious. We have to be thankful for the successes we've had today, but we also have to double down and ask ourselves, how are we going to achieve that 100% scale? For those of you who in the audience who are dreaming about being the next Constech billionaire, I've got some bad news for you. Yeah, this is not the environment to get rich. In some industries, 100 times scale means 100 times more revenue, and that's just an equation you work on. In our industry, the reality is we'll have ups and downs. For many of us, this last year has been a bit of a down. And that, again, puts even sharper focus on our role as technologists. Because we have to continue providing the solutions we are today and scale those and scale those and scale those without any certainty about future revenue. We can assume that it's going to be somewhat similar as today, but we cannot raise funds and think the better we do, the more revenue we're going to have. So certainly, for me, what this means is everyone has to think about the scale of the solutions they're working on. Yeah? It doesn't mean every single one of you has to say, okay, I am building solutions at global scale, and if I don't, I'm failing. We all have different roles to play, the researcher, the technology company. But what it does require is we all think about the ecosystem of technology solutions. Are we contributing to a richer set of solutions for technology? Are we ensuring we're providing flexibility and empowering our users? And we have to be critical about technology. Yeah? We've seen lots of cases where lots of different solutions just create fragmentation and confusion in the industry. And so we have to be prepared sometimes to consolidate our efforts. When we consolidate efforts, we have to be careful of creating monoliths that block innovation. We have to think about the impact of technology on practitioners in the field. There are lots of examples where technology has come along and they've come with a good solution that they've asked someone in the field to pilot. And it's kind of worked, but then they say, we've got a better solution, it's coming next year. Can you pilot this? And can you pilot in the next year? And you pilot the next year. And you have this kind of thing that I call pilotizers, endless pilots, which doesn't serve practitioners. And we've got to change that. Perhaps more importantly, as we think about technology, we've got to understand the context of technology, the broader business context. We don't have to create the best technology solutions out there. Often, the best technology solutions are not the ones that have the biggest scale. They're not the ones that have the greatest impact. The best technology solutions are the ones that think about the end user. They put the end user, they put the practitioner in the middle. They focus on what outcome they're trying to support. They make sure they're supported, they're easy to use. They build a business ecosystem around them so that they're enabling people. And I think that's what you heard on the last video. What's critical in our role of conservation technology is not how brilliant our technology is, but it's how well we enable practitioners at scale. So please, in the days ahead, think about your role in conservation technology and your role in ensuring the solutions we work on scale and help us get towards that 100 times impact. So, turning to the next couple of days ahead, we all have a lot to learn. Conservation is an incredible industry to be in because every day there is more to learn, and the same with technology. So, please, as we focus on the next 3 days, find people who can help you with the problems you have. Meet new colleagues and friends. Build trust and start collaborating. Remember why you're here. Remember the impacts you're trying to support. And please understand your role in addressing issues at scale. So with that, I want to thank you. Please leave these 3 days stronger, more optimistic, and more ambitious than you came. Thank you.